Rabotai, we're going to start Parashat Mishpatim. We have our Baal Kori with us. Erev Tov, Jeffrey. Thank you very much, as usual, for all the beautiful laning. Let's call it laning. Not that you really lane, but you're reading for us. It's exactly like laning, the beautiful voice. Let's start. ואלה המשפטים אשר תשים לפניהם. כי תקנה עבד עברי. 6 שנים יעבוד. ובשביעית יצא לחופשי חינם.
And these are the ordinances that you shall place before them. If you buy a Jewish bondsman, he shall work for 6 years, and in the 7th he shall go free for no charge.
Okay. מה זה ואלה המשפטים? And those are the law. Say Rashi HaKadosh, Rabbi Shlomo Yitzhaki, born in a city of Troyes in the north of France, and he born 986 years ago. He said like this, ve'ele, wherever it say ve'ele, it's come to add up. Vav, nahibur, come to add up. What is it come to add up? I tell you that the children of Israel got the law, okay, in Mount Sinai. Okay, what did they got? Aseret HaDibrot. He said, but those are the law that we speaking here in this parsha, also been added up. That means don't think that the law that we're going to talk about it in this parsha, it's not from Ma'amad Har Sinai, when they received the Torah in Sinai. So ve'ele come to add it up. That means dafka to add up, to tell you that the same, like the 10 Commandments that you received in Mount Sinai, that's the law that we're going to speak in a parsha. It's exactly the same. They received it in Mount Sinai. He said, but whenever it say ele, without vav hibur, okay, it's come to subtract. It said that's the difference. Ve'ele come to add up, to tell you whatever you receive in Mount Sinai, it's absolutely from the Almighty. Ve'ele, also what you're going to get here in this parsha, it's also from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's Rashi HaKadosh. Rashi HaKadosh continue and say, שתשים סנהדרין אצל המקדש. Okay? What does it mean? Pshat of the dvarim, that you should put in a hazara, in the entrance to Bet HaMikdash, you put Sanhedrin to judge the children of Israel. And come many of the Mefarshim and say, wait 1 second. Rashi, what are you trying to tell us? You tell me to put Sanhedrin next to the altar. What's the connection between the altar and the Sanhedrin? Rashi, you tell me tasim Sanhedrin b'mikdash. Put a judges where? In Bet HaMikdash. So ask the Mefarshim, ma kesher? What's the connection? I saw a commentary of Rabbi Chaim HaKohen. Rabbi Chaim HaKohen wrote a book called Torat Chaim, okay, and he explained that the main reason that the Torah tells us that you have to put the judges in Bet HaMikdash by the altar. What's the connection? That if you immediately, that after the Torah spoke about the dinim of the altar, that's how it ended up last parsha, it's come to tell you that the person mustn't think that because he's bringing korbanot, okay, and he sacrificed them on the altar, that's the most important. He said, ve'ele, it's come to tell you to add up. Ve'ele mishpatim, and those are the law to add up, that it's as important to bring korbanot is also important to pasken the judgment properly. To do din mishpat beIsrael, to do a judgment according to the Torah law, that's as important as the mishpatim. So now we can understand what Rashi HaKadosh said to us. Tasim Sanhedrin Hamikdash. To tell you that it's so important that the law amongst the Jewish people should be kept according to Torah law, the same like Korbanot. Another interpretation that the Mefarshim bring, and I saw it, that it's bring that we're learning, it say Lifnehem. What it means Lifnehem, in the front of them? He say that at the beginning, Moshe Rabbeinu, said the Mefarshim, that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want to explain, listen to that, the reason behind the law. Until HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell him, Lifnehem. No, Moshe Rabbeinu, please, explain to him the reason behind every law. You must show them and you must explain to them what's hiding, what's the secret behind every law. That means give them the reason and the logical understanding what's hiding behind every law that I'm putting, according to the Din Torah. Why? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to explain the children of Israel, that he wanted them to understand that when they go, Has v'Shalom, to Din Torah, they have to sit together. What does it mean to sit together? When they're sitting, they have to understand that it's not just a court, like a civil court. Here, we paskin according to the Holy Torah. That means to fulfill the wish of the Almighty. Say, Rabbi Yehuda Alter. Rabbi Yehuda Alter, Rabbi Yehuda Aryeh Lev Alter, he born in Poland. He born 179 years ago. He was a Gure Rebbe. He wrote a book, Sfat Emet. And he said, from here, you can learn also something very important. It's come to teach you something very important. It's come to teach you that from that it said Lifnehem, okay, that every Jewish person have an obligation. If you have a dispute or litigation, if you go into litigation, you have to understand that you have to do it in a Jewish court, Beit Din. Why? Why is it so important? Lifnehem. Say the Mefarshim like this. If a Jewish person go to a civil court, for example, he showed that Has v'Shalom, that, so to say, that the Torah doesn't know how to solve, okay, certain matters. He said, by that you're going to a civil court, you're actually doing this, not only discarding the name of the Torah, you actually disgracing the name of the Almighty. Why? Because Kivyachol HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't know how to judge such thing. Doesn't have an answer for a thing like a matter, let's call it, not a thing, a matter like you going to be going into a civil court. So he said, by that you go into a civil court, you cause Chilul Hashem. You are causing disgrace to the holy name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to his Torah. So from here we understand what does it mean, Lifnehem. Okay, but say the Mefarshim something more important. The Mefarshim explain something very important. And I have to explain what it means, Lifnehem. The Mefarshim explain that when two people coming and they have a litigation, they have a dispute between them, the first thing that people should do, it's mentioned in Hoshen Mishpat, in Tur Hoshen Mishpat, Siman Yud Bet Sha'if 2. זה שמצווה להציע לבעלי דינים, תחילה שיעשו פשרה. That means that the first thing, when there is a litigation between, or dispute between two people, the most important thing is to try to make compromise. Where do you learn that? Say the Mefarshim. Listen to that. Say Rabbi Shimshon Chaim Nachmani. Rabbi Shimshon Chaim Nachmani, born in the city of Modena in Italy 320 years ago. In his Zera Shimshon, in his book Zera Shimshon Ot Bet, he say, look what it says in the book of Samuel that we're learning. Okay, in chapter 15. We are in chapter 13. Soon we're gonna get there. He said, "Vayihi David Ose Mishpat U'Tzedakah lekol amo." And the king David used to make a judge and righteousness, okay, and tzedakah. What it means, tzedakah? Tzedakah, it means when people need a loan, David used to do it with them. Tzedakah, give it tzedakah. Lechol amo. What does it mean? It's a telling. David HaMelech used to do tzedakah, not only giving money, has v'shalom. David HaMelech, before everyone, he pasken the din, before they're sitting in front of him, used to approach to the two people that have the dispute. And he said to them, listen, before we start, can we come to compromise? Would you two agree to come to a compromise or not? He said that the best thing is to do when you come in to do a compromise between the two. That means that the first thing when two litigation coming to you to litigate it, you have to do compromise between them. And the Maharsha Rabbi Shmuel Idlish, he born in the city of Krakow in Poland, and he born 471 years ago, plus minus, if I'm not mistaken. He said on a Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin that who have a person, a dayan, that have yirat shamayim, the fear of heaven, the first thing that he must do to try to cause a litigation between the two. By that he bring peace between them and Almighty. And he said, why? How did you come to that conclusion? He said, listen to that. He said, when you do a justice, okay, sometimes you can do justice. Sometimes, by mistake, you're not pasking the right thing, okay, because you didn't understand or you didn't have all the evidence. It's inevitably, it can cause one person, has v'shalom avel. Avel is a misjudgment. He said, by that you're doing a compromise between the two litigate, it's come to tell you that you're making peace between them and the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why? Because they both agree to compromise. Therefore, when you come, first thing that you have to offer is a compromise. Said the Zera Shimshon, that's what it said, Tasim Lifnehem, put in front of them. Put in front of them the first option to do, to compromise between each one of each other. So what do we learn from there? We learn from here that, number one, how important is it that the Jewish people should go to Beit Din? If you don't find the Beit Din in your city according to satisfying, go to a higher court. There's plenty Beit Din in Eretz Israel that's much better. So if you're not happy where you are, move to another city. That's how Chazal say in a Gemara. You're not happy with the Beit Din in your place, go to another city. So what do we learn from here? That number one, that we should do if we have a dispute, bet din. Number two, it's to compromise. Number three, not to desecrate our holy Torah and the name of the Almighty that He given us, that you have to go to a Jewish bet din and not has v'shalom to a civil court. That's what we learn from here. Let's go to verse 2. And in verse 2, the Torah actually speaks about a Jewish slave, the law of the Jewish slave. If you look, the first thing that the Torah do when it's come to law, it speaks about Jewish slave law. And let's see what the Torah tells us. כי תקנה עבד עברי, 6 שנים יעבוד, ובשביעית יצא לחופשי חינם.
If you buy a Jewish bondsman, slave, he shall not work for 6 years. He shall work for 6 years, and in the 7th he shall go free for no charge.
Okay. What is Eved Ivri? We have to understand what is Eved Ivri. Eved Ivri, okay, is a Jewish slave. What is a Jewish slave? We have to ask ourselves. Very important for us to understand what is a Eved Ivri, a Jewish slave. A Jewish slave, it's a person that done Avera, that he stole, for example, and he can't pay the debt that he stole. That means, let's say that he stole $100, and you have no $100 to pay back. So Hazal say, no problem. You can't pay. You're gonna work towards the amount of $100. Whatever days that it takes, that's what you must do. And the question becomes that many of the Mefarshim ask, understand, okay, now I understand what is Eved Ivri. But why did the Torah, the first thing from all the law, open with the law of Eved Ivri? Tafka with the law of a Jewish slave. That's the question that many of the Mefarshim ask. And we have to understand that that question actually been asked by Rabbi Abraham Eben Ezra. Rabbi Abraham Eben Ezra, born in a city of Toledo in Spain, he born 937 years ago, plus minus. And he explained like this. He said that you have to understand why is the Torah speaking about Jewish law. What's so important about it? He said that there is nothing that worse for a person, for a human being, that, or it's the most difficult for another person, another Jewish person, when he see that other human being, okay, that he's under the authority and under the control of another human being. It's so difficult for a person to be under the authority, under the control of other human beings like him. He said, therefore, the Torah comes and speak about the law of a Jewish slave. Why? Because it's so difficult for him to be underneath the authority of another human being exactly like him. Maybe he's rich, okay? Or maybe that what he done, the difference is that he stole and this one didn't steal, but they're still both human beings. Another explanation that the Mefarshim explain, that it's come to tell you why the Torah, when she starts with all the law, she starts with the law of a Jewish slave. What's so important about it? It's come to tell you that until now we learn mitzvot ben adam lamakom. מה זה ben adam lamakom? The law between us and the Almighty. He said that here the Torah comes to tell you that you mustn't think for a second that mitzvot שבין אדם לחברו is not important. It's as important. What does it mean? The law that speaking about mitzvot, that ben adam lachavero, that means that the law between a man and his fellow friend is as important to the mitzvot ben adam lamakom. It's come to teach you derech eretz, said the mefarshim. What it means derech eretz? How that you should behave, how that you should conduct and run your life. Not only that, kavod habriot, that you should respect one each other. When you left your bicycle outside, okay, or you left your shoes outside, okay, and someone else come and take them, that means that he showed that that he have no respect for you. You have lack of respect. The Torah come and teach us that the person like this gonna be punished harshly, that he become a slave, he become pay. Because if he been caught and he find guilty, you have to pay, okay, double the amount. So say the Mefarshim that from here you learn why the Torah come to teach us dafka, the law of a Jewish slave, to teach us how important is it that one will respect each other. Kama hashuv, how important is it that we are going to respect one each other, not only by saying good morning and hi and how are you, also to respect the property that belong to our fellow friends. Respect that if he left his shoes, if he left his bicycle, I'm giving an example. I'm giving a funny example, b'chavana. I don't want to say anything else. That to teach us how important is it to show respect for our fellow friend. Look what a great Torah we have. If this government of us will adopt that, we wouldn't have a half of the Torahs. Let's go to verse 6. And here we're going to speak about a Jewish slave that decide that he doesn't want to leave his master. Then what's happened? There's a Jewish slave, okay? And he worked for Mr. Chaim Yankel, and he loved Chaim Yankel. And he decided, no, I don't want to leave Chaim Yankel. He was too good to me. I want to stay slave to him. What is the case in that matter? What should Chaim Yankel obligate to do to that slave? Let's read and then we'll explain Be'ezrat Hashem. The Torah tells us like this: V'yigisho Adonav el ha'Elohim, v'yigisho el hadelet, o el hamezuzah, v'ratza Adonav et ozno b'martzeach, ve'avado le'olam.
This was an answer that he didn't want to leave the master, right? From then his master shall bring him to the court, and he shall bring him to the door or to the doorpost, and his master shall bore through his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him forever.
Okay. So the question that the Mefarshim asked here, number one, why that you have to take him? Why do you have to take him to the Beit Din? Why do you have to take him to court, to the Beit Din? So the Mefarshim explain, you have to take him to the Beit Din, that everyone will hear and will see that he decides that he's going to stay a slave for Chaim Yankel, like we explained. Chaim Yankel is just a name. What's the Hidush here? That you take him to the doorpost and you have to pierce his ears. What is all of that? What What is that ceremony trying to tell us? What's hiding behind all of that ceremony? Okay? So we have to understand that you have to pierce his ears with marcea. Marcea is a thing that it's a veil. Am I right, Jeffrey?
Sorry, it's a what do you say?
What you pierce the ears. What do you call it, marcea? How do they call it in English? What is the proper name for it? Oh, all. Sorry, all.
AWL, all.
Okay, all. Why dafka all? So there's three questions here: the door, the post, and the all. So let's go step by step. First of all, the master have to take him to the door. What's the hidush here? You take him to the doorpost. Okay. So Rashi HaKadosh actually bring what Hazal tell us in the Gemara Masechet Kiddushin 22 folio 2. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Almighty say, כאשר פסחתי על דתות בני ישראל במצרים, when I passed over, okay, the doors of the children of Israel, okay, in Egypt, before he took us out to freedom, okay, to make us a free nation, because we were slaves there, I said that human nation, by that I didn't brought the plague on the children of Israel, I pass over the door to make you free. And now you, as a slave, wanted to be a slave for other human beings. Therefore, I'll take you to the door. Why dafka to the door? Because what make HaKadosh Baruch Hu kivyachol, so to say, that he passed over the door, the house of the children of Israel? Said the Mefarshim, the Kadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu that when they take the blood of the Korban Pesach and the blood of the Brit Milah, they must mix it together and they must smudge on the top of the door. They must smudge it on the top of the door. Yeah. He said, by that you done that act that I told you, okay, that I'm going to pass over. What did I done? I make you free. So first of all, let me take you to that place. Where is that place? That place will be by the doorpost. To remind you that that was the first step of freedom. But unfortunately, you didn't want to go to be a free man. So I wanted to remind you. But now, why do you have to pierce the ears? Beseder, I understand the doorpost, you took him there. But why do you have to pierce his ears in a doorpost? Asked the Mefarshim. I saw another interpretation that brought by Rabbi Yitzhak Alter. Rabbi Yitzhak Meir Alter. He was the first Guru Rebbe. He born in Poland 227 years ago. And he wrote a book, Hidushei Harim. Harim, it means Harav, Rabbi Yitzhak Meir. Okay? Morenu Harav Yitzhak Meir. That means Harim. Okay, beseder, we understand that. He said, let me explain to you why you have to pierce his ears. He said, what did the Kadosh Baruch Hu told us in Mount Sinai? What was the mitzvah? Lo tignov, you should not steal. And you, as a Jewish slave, what did you done? You didn't listen to Kadosh Baruch Hu. You gone and you stole. Okay? That's ears that listen on Mount Sinai to command, that she didn't obey the law, that ears have to be pierced. Say the Hidushei Harim, if we not doing what we're hearing, it's better not to hear from the beginning. If we're not doing what we're hearing, we have an obligation to do what we hear in Mount Sinai. But you hear that and you doesn't want to fulfill the mitzvah, that you're going to be pierced where? In the doorpost, where I make the children of Israel free. On that doorpost that I took them out to freedom, on that doorpost, you're going to be a slave forever. And the ears that hear the mitzvah that you should not steal, and you're going to steal, and because that you become a Jewish slave, that ears have to be pierced. Now we can understand the connection. Okay, what's the connection to the all? So if we take the word Martia's Gematria 400, it's come to tell you that the Almighty, okay, actually redeemed us, okay, after 400 years from Egypt. And you gone and decide to have another slave, another master. Therefore, dafka with the awl. We're going to pierce your ears with the awls that Gematria 400. Be'ezrat Hashem on Shabbos, I bring a different, more mystical interpretation to that, why it's all. Why dafka martzea, that the Mefarshim bring a bit more deep. Why does it have to be dafka de martzea? It's come to tell you that, maybe I should share it with you, what said no, Rabbi Haim Ben Attar, or Haim HaKadosh. He born in the city of Sali in Morocco. He born 330 years ago. And he said like this. He said, we said that the Marchea is a gematria of 400. And he explained that what there is 400. He said that the gematria of Marchea 400, that there is 400 world, okay, special world, that's Olamot Kesef, that means that world of silver, okay? That means that the Zohar HaKadosh explained that there is in Sefer Bereshit, Parashat Hayei Shara, the Zohar HaKadosh explained in page 123, folio 1, that there is 400 world of silver, okay? And it's something that we don't understand, that what does it mean, world of silver? But just for us to understand, it's a world to give us idea the pleasure that we're going to get. And those 400 world of pleasure going to be taken from you. Now we understand. So let's repeat it. We understand the doorpost, we understand the ears, and we understand the all. Why dafka? HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell us in his holy Torah that the person that is a Jewish slave decide to have a new master, we have to take him, first of all, to the Beit Din, because they have to pass him, they have to ask him. Maybe he say, listen, I want to be a slave to him, but the owner actually threatening him. When you go to the Beit Din, they'll check it out. After they make sure that he decide by himself and he's convinced that he want to stay with that new master, you take him to the doorpost. So remind them, listen, Kadosh Baruch Hu freed us, the children of Israel, from Egypt by the doorpost. By that we smeared the blood on the doorpost. And then you pierce his ears because he didn't keep the mitzvah of you should not steal. And the third one, the oath, to show him what is he missing. Okay, so now we understand why we have to take the Jewish slave to the doorpost. Let's go to verse 19. in chapter 21, verse 19, here the Torah speak about the law that if someone, okay, harmed someone else, okay, if he knocked him out with a fist and etc. But look what the Torah tells us. אם יקום ויתהלך בחוץ על משענתו וניקה מכה, רק שבטו ייתן ורפו ירפא.
If he gets up and goes about outside under his own power, the one who struck is absolved. Only for his lost time shall he pay, and he shall provide for healing.
Okay. מה זה רפו ירפא? פשט of the דברים that he have to pay the amount of money that it's going to cost. Let me just mute. Whatever it's cost to heal the person that you strike, okay? That's what you have to pay. פשט of the דברים. קם רש"י הקדוש and say, רפו ירפא. מה זה רפו ירפא? That from here you have the obligation that you have to pay the pshat of the sachar. That means that you have to pay pshat of the dvarim, the money. But Hazal say, מכאן שניתנה רשות לרופא לרפות. Say the mefarshim that here we're learning that the doctor got a permission to cure sick people. Rashi, what are you trying to tell me? The doctor is not to cure people? What's the heading? Said the Mefarshim that here there is a message to the doctor. That the doctor before, and the Rambam, the great ego, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon, okay, he wrote a tefillah. There is a tefillah Ramban. That every doctor, there is a tefillah for the doctor, and the doctor has to say that that's pray before he starts the day. Every morning when he goes to his practice. He said that you have to understand that the doctor, when he goes to his practice, you have to daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he should be a good messenger. And that doctor have to understand that he's a messenger of the Almighty. But I listen to that. A doctor is a messenger of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he should daven that he should be a good messenger. Okay? Say the Mefarshim, I saw another interpretation, that when a person go to a doctor, he should daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu before he go to a doctor, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send him a doctor that will cure him, okay, and it will be a good messenger. Second idea. The third idea, it said that here, what Rashi said, רפו ירפא מכאן שניתנה רשות לרופא לרפות, that the doctor have permission to cure sick people. That means that the doctor have a permission to cure people, but not to decide if they're going to live or not. Let's leave it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That means sometimes we hear that people say, listen, it's matter of days, matter of hours. And the next thing, the person cured, is walking, and everything is okay. It's come to tell you that the job of a doctor is to cure, not to take hope, Chas v'shalom, from the sick person. Rabbi Chaim Vital. Who was Rabbi Chaim Vital? Rabbi Chaim Vital, born in Tzfat. He was the main student of Ari Kadosh. He born 481 years ago. And in his book, Eitz Da'at Tov, Eitz Da'at, the tree of knowledge, the good tree of knowledge, we call it, that you have to understand something very important. He said that nachon that HaKadosh Baruch Hu giving you permission to go to a doctor, because you have to. Because if a person doesn't go to a doctor, Rabotai, that's he go against ונשמרתם מאוד לנפשותיכם. He said, but the person that's sick have to daven, although that you're going to the doctor, daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he will send you the cure. He said, why? Because sometimes the doctor can give you a medicine, and that medicine could cause a side effect. He said, but if you daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he will cure you, the cure of HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes without, okay, side effects. Because unfortunately, that even if it's not side effect, there's pain into it. If a person have to go to a surgery, in that moment, he's underneath anesthetic. He can't feel nothing. But after he get up, after the operation, the healing process, it's not as simple. So he said that here the Torah tells us that you yourself have an obligation to daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that your healing going to be from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that less pain going to be. The doctor have an obligation. But also the person that have the sickness, okay, also have an obligation to daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that the curing of himself going to be, or the healing of himself going to be with as much less pain that the person can have. So we learn from here something very important. The Torah tells us how much we have to work on ourselves when it's come to refuah, that we have to do our own personal effort. You can't cure yourself. You go to a doctor. You have an obligation. When you go into the obligation, daven that doctor going to be a good messenger. But then also cure that your cure, okay, as a patient will be as fast with less pain. And the fourth one, that the doctor, okay, have to remember that he is a messenger of the Almighty. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, giving him the knowledge, giving him the wisdom, the chokhmah, to become a doctor, that he must understand that he is a messenger of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And not Has v'Shalom to think that he is second to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I don't want to say what sometimes people think. Okay, so we understand that. Let's go to chapter 22. Wow, it's already 10 to 9. Wow. Okay, I'm going to skip this. Let's go to chapter 22, verse 21. 22, 21. כל אלמנה ויתום לא תעונון.
Okay.
22, chapter 22,
Yes,
verse
got it.
21.
Verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
You shall not cause pain to any widow or orphan.
That's it. Simple. The Torah tells us that we should not put any widow or any orphan underneath the stress, but any, the key word, call, any. Why is the Torah tell us, okay, any? And if you look at verse 22, it says, Im ano te'ane oto, ki im tza'ok yitza'ak elai, shamo eshma et tza'akato. Also verse 22.
Yes. If you dare to cause him pain, For if he shall cry out to me, I shall surely hear his outcry.
Okay. So Pshat of the Dvarim, not to put a widow and not to put often underneath any distress. Pshat of the Dvarim. But why did he say call every? That's the question that we have to understand. It's come to tell you that you have to understand it's not just normal human being. The Rambam, Rabbi Moshe ben Mammon, that we mentioned earlier, he born in the city of Cordova in Spain. He born 891 years ago. Okay, 891 years ago. He wrote an Ilchot Deot, Perek Vav, okay, in his book, chapter Ilchot Deot, chapter the law of Deot is idea, opinion. In chapter 6, law number Halacha Yud, law number 10. He said that from that he said call, it's come to teach you not only normal human being, even a widow of a king, even an orphan of a king, you're not allowed to put them underneath the stress. That means, don't think it's only average people. Also, because people say, okay, I understand normal widow, normal orphan, they don't have money, don't put them underneath the stress. But listen, a widow of a king, an orphan of a king, obviously they have money. He left them a lot of heritage. No different between a normal widow to a widow of the king. No different between a normal orphan to an orphan of the king. He said, why is it say that? Here it say twice, Im anota aneoto. If you gonna taunt him or you're gonna shout, if you're gonna cause him any distress, you're gonna shout at me. Everything is double. If you look at verse 22 that Jeffrey read for us, everything is double. Im ane te'ane oto, im tza'ok itz'ak elai, shamoa eshma tza'akato. He come to tell you that you have to understand what the Torah tried to tell you. Why dafka orphan and a widow? He saw, but that you're putting the stress on any one of them is one problem. But from that the Torah tell us twice, say Rabbi Moshe al-Sheikh. Who was Rabbi Moshe al-Sheikh? Rabbi Moshe al-Sheikh born in the city of Andripoli in Turkey. He born 519 years ago. You saw the Torah here come to teach you that when you distress a widow or an orphan, you cause them double pain. He said, what's the first pain that they remember that you distress them? Okay? The second pain that you cause them, by that they're saying, the widow said, listen, she doesn't have a husband that can help her, that can protect her. The orphan say that he doesn't have a father that can protect him. He said that that's what the Torah tell you. Okay? Kol almana veyatom lo te'anu. Everyone. So we explain it's also referring to the king, widow, and the king orphan. But the Sheikh HaKadosh go one step more deeper. He said that that's come to teach you something extraordinary. It's come to teach you that when you distress the orphan or a widow, you cause them double pain. Because they have no one to turn to. They have no one to talk to. How careful you have to be. We have another 3 minutes. Let's try and do one more. Let's go to chapter 23, verse 25. 23, 25. Yes, good. ועבדתם את אדוני אלוהיכם, וברך את לחמך ואת מימיך, והסירותי מחלה מקרבך.
You shall worship Hashem your God, and he shall bless your bread and your waters, and I shall remove illness from your midst.
Pshat of the dvarim, in this verse, the Almighty tells us, if you tell the children of Israel, if you're going to follow and keep my law and do everything that I tell you, I promise you that I'm going to bless your bread and your water. But then the verse adding up something very interesting. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu will remove every illness from us. What's the connection? I understand if I keep the mitzvot, I keep the Torah, I do what I'm obligated to do. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bless my prosperity. Until here I understand. Come the Zera Shimshon and say, wait a minute, what does that have to do with the illness? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu going to remove the illness. What's the connection between the bread and the water to illness? Said the Zera Shimshon something extraordinary. Listen to that. And he bring the Gemara in Masechet Baba Metzia, Kuf Zayin Amud Bet, 107 folio 2. There it say on the word Mahala, that Chazal and the Gemara say that the person that eat bread, pachachrit, we made a show about it, bread in the morning, that's actually remove from a person 83 different kind of intestine disease or infection. He said, the Zera Shimshon, now you can understand the connection. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu gonna bless you with prosperity, so you'll have food to eat and water to drink, okay? That means that if you eat in the morning bread, and after that you drink water, that will help you. What? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu will remove from you, gonna remove from every Jew, 83 intestine diseases. He said that's the connection. It's come to tell you by that you can afford to eat bread and to drink your water. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how is he going to give you that prosperity? But that you keep the mitzvot. If you keep the mitzvot, you'll have enough money to sustain your body. And if you eat that meal in the morning, that's what's going to remove from you 83 different intestine disease. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bless the entire Jewish people with fully refuah shlema, that we all should be cured, amen ken yeh ratzon. Rabotai, we have to understand, there is a mitzvah from the Torah, I repeat it, v'nishmartem me'od lenafshotechem. We have a mitzvah from the Torah to look after ourselves, after our health. A person can't say, I'm not going to the doctor. You have an obligation to go to the doctor. Just that you have to understand that you have to pray that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send you a good doctor. That the doctor that he sends you, it's going to be a good messenger. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send refuah shlema to all the Jewish people, all over the world, okay, and will cure all the sick, amen ken yeh ratzon.